Okay, so Lyle, what was your impression? What did we just watched the rough cut of the ARCversation, and we've come together to talk about that and ARC in general. And what was your impression of that? And how did it make you feel?
I guess it's it started with the collision,
Literally, the sound of.
the literal sound of the collision, and I feel that what I got out of what this collision was, beyond the specific contents, but I got out a. I mean, I really like that while you when we were watching it, you heard Josh say sense and you said sense,
Right, right.
and then we had this little conversation about that a minute ago. But the other term that came out for me was Paul's identification of the word suggestion of the term apprehension.
Right,
And
right.
so the thing that I'm thinking right now is about apprehension, and in general the position of, or the outcome of this collision, the pieces that to be curated are revolving really around this question about the this apprehension of time, given, on the one hand, these massively extended time scales, and on the other hand, a kind of urgency of maybe, which can't be described as crisis, maybe.
Can't or can?
Cannot. It
Right.
seems like it's like we're in a, as Paul was saying, we're maybe in a time where we can't speak about crisis in this way.
Right.
That's not the ordering metric for how we experience this kind of sense of something threatening and urgent.
There's something about the like non-apprehension of large time scales
Or
that doesn't act like one might think that like perhaps in modern movies that something about the ancientness of a story or a power gives that urgency of the impending event of the narrative like a weight. There's something about not being able to apprehend, um, or the indeterminacy of our apprehension of something, like how long it's going to take for nuclear waste to do whatever it does, and for us to be able, how long we're going to be able to manage that sort of thing. Yeah, what I think is interesting is actually how watching it turned out to be more like participating, insofar as now we are thinking, we're like continuing the conversation, right? Sort of. I'm gonna just reflect real quick on what's happening, not on the content, because besides sense and apprehension, which I had the same thing. I mean, we both had the sense moment where we paused it and we wrote down some possible texts to look at, to think about sense and how it might be pertinent to like our whole like mode of inquiry, and then apprehension as well. Um, we're sort of trying to keep one eye on the fact that this is a film for other folks.
Right.
Um, my I thought chaos, and chaos, I guess, on two levels. Like, if I was not familiar with this sort of conversation, like simply like a non-academic, or even an academic who is not familiar with this, but also as someone who's involved, I think that the way that we've edited, um, or that it has been edited, really discloses the seemingly chaotic nature of the conversation, from livers to, we just bounce around. I mean, I was watching it and I was like, I don't remember that. Although while I was in it, it fueled pages of notes and opened doors for what I was thinking in terms of my own stuff or whatever. Do you think that there's a tension? What's the relationship between our task of quote unquote capturing what we're doing and the possibility, like Roy I think was suggesting in the beginning of it, that the fact that it is now in video form and can be replayed and rewatched more than once, if there's a tension between that desire to capture and something else that might happen through our apprehension of the film. Do you think?
Right. I mean, it makes, if in this Labinar we're going to have a argumentary that documents the process of the Labinar into a film, that will change how this Labinar impacts us.
Absolutely. Will it offer a possible tool? Will it be as good a tool as some of the concepts, or just the if you think of the Labinar itself, the form of collaboratory inquiry as a tool? Do you think the film as a tool is as works as well, or contributes as well? I mean, we just started.
It enables a kind of reflexivity, for sure. I mean, it reminds me of this thing of like, I mean, maybe for better or for worse, I haven't decided yet.
Right,
but
right.
It reminds me of something like, I used to play squash. I still play squash, but I went to a few camps once when I was in high school. Actually, one in particular, and one of the things that they did for that was, you're hitting the ball, and then they videotape you, and then you watch the videotape, and then you can change the way that you. It really is helpful because you see the way that you're swinging, and then in a way that it allows you to change the way that you swing.
Right.
Where I couldn't do it just from someone telling me how to do it differently. So I don't know that, but certainly that I feel now that we're having this conversation on video, and we just watched ourselves on video.
And we're videoing ourselves.
That specifically, I'm more conscious of what this conversation we're having right now is being turned into, because I just watched myself on the video.
Right. And also knowing that this might be spliced into that.
Right, and that's so. But I don't know. My first instinct is that it has it's kind of a negative effect. But the positive possibility seems to be that we're able to taking ourselves and taking the Labinar itself as an object for what we're thinking about.
Right, more explicitly. Because we're kind of sort of constantly recursively thinking about how we're thinking about what we're thinking about. The question is whether or not this is an adequate way of continuing to do that. I think that's good. I think it's a good start.